Here we go. Alright. Welcome back to Bleach Anime Review, episode number 49. Which, just by sheer coincidence that we have it like this, our next episode is going to be episode 50 for review-wise. And also, this is the penultimate episode of Core 3 for Bleach, Thousand Blue War Conflict, which is the 13th episode of Core 3, which is also the 405th episode of the series, The Visible Answer. This one covers a lot of material. I was surprised how much this covers. So it covers page 1 of chapter 615, pages 7 to 14 of 647, 16 17 of 654, the entirety. They have 2 full chapters here. 655, 657 are only 2. Well, you could say 656 is kind of full chapter, but they skip kind of the opening page. For 658, they adapt the first 8 pages for this one. And in chapter 659, this has pages 10 through 12 and 14 to 17. You're like, wow, oh my gosh. So in case you're curious about what about the rest 615, well, that was out for a previous episode. You see, 615 has also been adapted for chapter for episodes 334 and 395 of this very core. Yes. For 647, the first half of this chapter was adapted in episode 401. As for 654, they adapted some of this chapter in 403 and the very previous episode of this one. For 656, I think this one was. Don't think this was fully adapted. This one. No. You can see kind of it is. For 658, this one started. I was in the first half of this chapter, but what was 659? 659, this episode started, so my guess is the next episode, which I'm briefly looking right now, we'll finish adapting those chapters. Some of these chapters, yes, but not all of them. So, in this episode, we start with, we see Squad 13, where Ukiteg is still acting as the right arm of the Soul King, where his power is dissipating. We see him briefly this episode. We see Urabaha, where his power is still fluctuating per se. There's also a scene here with Hodgwitz basically talking to Ururu, which leads into him attacking him. Of course, this comes after he killed Blazer Black from the previous episode. And Ururu, well, his scene leads into something we'll talk about in just a minute. So in the case of the rest of the Soviet captains, well, the ones basically are not fighting some of the other ones. They basically arrived at the Soul King spot. This is basically, from what I could tell, it is Momo, Kitsuke, Byakuya, Renji. Well, Renji is like he actually is alive. Rukia. And of course, Sosui is there too. And they all arrive at the castle. Then they're confronted by Gerald Valkyrie. Which of course basically Renji and Byakuya proceed to basically just, well, Renji kind of blocks him with his Hinimaru. And Byakuya proceeds to basically just slice and dice him. And supposedly kill him. Of course, they walk by. And everything seems fine until he goes giant size. They also mentioned the whole thing will be miracles. Because he's the miracle one. Yeah, there's something about him revealed in this episode. I'll get back to it. And then we briefly see Rangiku moving around with, I think that is Squad 7 from C7 from the guy who squeezed C7 from Squad 4. Rankiku's interesting, the fact she's here. This is the first time she's actually done anything in quite a while. I think supposedly she died and she turned into a zombie, but basically the zombie thing was reversed. But I think that in the case of, well, the Captain of Squad 13, he kind of shortened the lifespan. How much, he doesn't say. But also looks like apparently he gave Rangiku a haircut. Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird. Like, why in the world would we give her a haircut for? And also the fact that her scarf, which is normally around her waist, is now like around her shoulders for some reason. I don't know why. They see Jiraiya, he's giant size. Also, well, Nanao sees him giant size too. Of course, also, Wakamundo was shaking. We don't see anybody Wakamundo, which is kind of surprising. I thought we'd see somebody Wakamundo, like maybe Hollow or something. No, we see nobody. Wakamundo was empty. Like, why is it so empty? It's complete mystery. We see Ichigo's sisters, which this is interesting because they have not appeared in this whole entire revived anime. This episode is the first time they've been seen since the end of the previous anime. Since the end of the Fullbringer arc. I think that was the last time officially we're seen. And we see Karin where she is playing a PS3. I'm presuming that based on the controller. And her sister knocks over her glass. And then we have a brief scene where it looks like we have... Get this. Ichigo's father have a conversation with Uru's father. I'm like, that's interesting. Yep, in the case of... Well, in the case of Ichigo, well, he's basically taking on the Death Man. He's down. Though he does get up thanks to Yorichi, but I'm going to have to stop here because supper's ready. I will talk about the rest of this episode when I get back from dinner. Okay?